Well, I figured what the hell? Why don't we come up and try it again? YouTube is back. It's working. Everything seems to be fine. So I figured I could come up and hang out for a little bit longer if you want. Give a brief review of Smackdown. The stream was a mess tonight. It's still up on my channel. I'm probably going to delete it tonight, though. It was a mess because YouTube went down right in the middle of it. So everybody was kind of freaking. Everybody was dealing with those issues. It kind of sucked. But yeah, we're up and running now. Are people here? We are back. Yeah, I just decided like 10 minutes ago to come back live. I'm like, you know what? Everything's still set up. I haven't touched anything. I could just simple click of a button and I could be right back here with you. So anyway, I'm back. We'll see if anybody even rolls in here and hangs out. I didn't tell you guys I was coming back until just a couple of minutes ago. Let me check myself over here, make sure we're looking good. All right, we look. Just wish we wouldn't have gone down to begin with. It kind of, I understand problems happen and stuff. It just sucks that right in the middle of Smackdown 1000 on a night that I was expecting a pretty good audience, probably a lot of new subscribers, all that kind of good stuff. We get screwed over by YouTube. Nobody really knows what happened to YouTube. About halfway through Smackdown, it just went down. You couldn't access it. You couldn't get into it. A lot of people were having trouble seeing streams. You know, a lot of people's streams went down. I was somehow surviving. My entire stream is up on my channel uninterrupted. But I think during the whole thing, people were having trouble seeing me. Some could see me, some couldn't. Some of you had no problems at all. But I was having all sorts of problems. I couldn't see or hear anything. So it was, it sucked. But anyway, we're back up now. It only the whole ordeal probably lasted, what, 45 minutes? Maybe an hour. And then it started coming back, and I'm like, huh. Well, let's go back up, crack open another cold one. We'll talk about Smackdown at that 1000. We'll complain about it a little bit. I'll hang out, answer a few questions if you want, and then I'll get out of here. So I didn't think the show was too good. One of the things I said right from the start, you know, was that even before the show, I was saying, like, it felt like WWE was kind of phoning this one in. When you look at the things they had lined up, it was all random as hell. You know, they got The Undertaker to come in there because of, you know, he's currently featured right now on TV, and they got Edge there to do a cutting edge segment. We had the surprising return of Batista, and Rey Mysterio we kind of already knew was going to happen. But aside from that, it's not like they went all out. We didn't get The Rock. I mean, we got a tweet from The Rock. Gee, thanks, Rock. A tweet. Glad you could take time out of your busy day to send out that tweet to WWE. But I think just WWE overall in general, the 1000th episode of SmackDown was coming right in the middle of a really kind of chaotic time. They got a lot of stuff going on, and I think this show was kind of on the back burner, and they did not take nearly as much time and put nearly as much time and effort and energy into this as they did for Raw 1000. Raw 1000 had all sorts of shit going down and had a really good ending with the CM Punk attack on The Rock and the heel turn and all of that. This was pretty much nonsense. So nothing really took place on the show except for one thing, and that's the title change, the tag team title change. New champs, The Bar, defeated the New Day. Hey, easy buddies. And I kind of predicted that one too, because I was thinking, those of you who are watching the stream, the graphic came up, and I'm like, you know what? We're not going to see much on this SmackDown episode. WWE's got to give us something than just a bunch of random legend appearances where nothing really happens. So do a title switch, and sure enough, they did it. And probably the most noteworthy thing coming out of the show was Big Show showing up randomly, turning heel for, I lost track after like 375, so I don't know what one we're on now. But he showed up to help The Bar against the New Day, kind of even the odds. So we got yet another three-man faction on our hands. I guess Big Show's going to be paired with these guys indefinitely. I don't know. But it's just another three-man unit to go along with Sanity and go along with the New Day and the Shield and Strowman's crew. And who the fuck else? There's somebody else, too. I see the cat, don't worry. They were all making noises here a minute ago. So yeah, that was probably the only thing, like, storyline-wise, current roster guy-wise, that we saw on the show that was noteworthy at all, is we had a tag team title change. Aside from that, it wasn't much. The qualifying match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Rey was good. Rey did advance. I had kind of figured that last week. I started changing my tune on that a little bit as the show went on, because I thought maybe they could have Andrade Cien Almas come out there and interfere, maybe start up a feud with Rey, put Shinsuke in the tournament, since he's the U.S. champ and you already have the Intercontinental champ in there as well. Might have a champion versus champion match somewhere in there, and I started thinking that maybe Nakamura could win. But Ray wound up winning, and you kind of figured like he would have to, win his return match. And he is now in to the tournament, and that is pretty much the whole field, right? I think they're all in there, and it's all American dudes. So this World Cup is kind of a crock of shit, because I was under the assumption that much like soccer, the World Cup would be wrestlers representing certain countries and that sort of thing. That's what I thought it was going to be about. Instead, it's just a fucking King of the Ring tournament. So if they called the 50-man Rumble the greatest Royal Rumble, why don't they just call this the greatest King of the Ring? Why Crown Jewel? Stupid. Anyway, the tournament's kind of a joke. You get the dumb little cup. And my initial kind of pick at first to win the Crown Jewel tournament was going to be maybe Kurt Angle. But the more I think about it, after what we saw tonight on Smackdown with The Miz getting a quick roll-up victory over Rusev to advance and qualify for the tournament, my money's on The Miz now. Because The Miz challenged AJ and Daniel Bryan, the winner, a couple of weeks ago on Smackdown. So he's in line with a title shot because they're setting the table for that. And I've had my eye on the Royal Rumble for months now as being the place where AJ drops the belt to possibly The Miz. So if Miz wins the Crown Jewel tournament, then he has a reason for a title shot other than he just went out there and challenged. Paige now might have to give him one, and that could happen at the Rumble. So that was sort of significant because I think the winner of the tournament won his match tonight. I think it's going to be The Miz. So that's kind of who I'm shifting my money to at the moment. That could change. We'll go the next couple of weeks on TV, depending on what they do in the build to this. I might change my mind, but right now I think The Miz would be the likely guy to win that tournament. Because especially you're going to have babyfaces winning all over the place anyway. You got a babyface title match between AJ and Daniel Bryan, so a babyface is winning there. I fully expect Roman Reigns to retain against Brock and Strowman. And, that's 3 big matches, all babyfaces, or 2 big matches with babyfaces winning. So, you might have to give The Miz the Crown Jewel Cup. Get him on a track to the WWE title. That's my guess anyway. The Evolution reunion was underwhelming, but it was still at the same time really good to see Batista. I thought he looked good. I enjoyed what he said on the mic. He went on. He talked for a long time, but it was all right. Batista has not been on TV in like 4.5 years. If he wants to talk for 15 minutes, he can fucking talk for 15 minutes. I don't care. But I thought he was entertaining. Some of the things he said about Ric Flair and shit, and even Randy Orton, I thought was all real good. Teased some sort of a match maybe in the future with Triple H. Mentioned how Triple H has never defeated him. So they just kind of dropped that subtle hint. And I don't know, a lot of people were telling me in the chat that, Batista wants to come back. He said in interviews he wants to do a full schedule, house shows and everything, which to me just seems impossible. I don't see how anybody at this stage of their lives could do that schedule or would want to or would need to. If Batista came back, I could see it just being on a part-time basis, work a few TVs, couple of pay-per-views a year, for a 2-year stint and then retire. But this full balls-to-the-wall, full-blown schedule shit, I have a really hard time believing that, and I'll believe it when I fucking see it. But I hope that if he is going to do something in the future with WWE, that he hung around, and they discussed things, over the last couple of days here. And when he showed up at the building tonight, maybe he had a meeting with Vince and Triple H and say, hey, if you want to do something, here's what we have in mind, what do you think, or whatever. So maybe something was worked out and some sort of a contract was signed with Batista. We are going into WrestleMania here in the next few months, so now would be a good time to bring somebody like this back, and I think he could maybe be make an appearance in the Royal Rumble, and eventually maybe get involved with Triple H and have a match with him. Which means Triple H will probably get his victory back there too. Maybe we're in the middle of Triple H's retirement tour and we don't even know it. Did you ever think about that? Maybe Triple H is now getting all his wins back from the people that beat him. He never beat The Undertaker, so he beat him. Never beat Batista, so he's going to beat him. And then next thing you know, he's retired to be the boss man. Yeah, exactly. I just don't see any reason for Batista. And I'm not calling anybody a liar. Maybe Batista really wants to do this. I just think he's dumb for wanting to do it. Those days should be over. That's like, it's too rough. Too rough on the body. Batista will get hurt. He'll get hurt in a live event, and whatever match they have planned for him will be out the window. Goldberg's not coming back to wrestle a full schedule, He likes hitting the towns. Well, he can still sort of hit the towns. He doesn't have to go on the fucking rode like that. So that was the one big return. The other one was Edge. He had a cutting edge segment that actually came after the Evolution segment, and a lot of people felt Batista talked for a long time, and he may have, because the cutting edge seemed a little bit rushed, although Edge spent a lot of time on the mic as well talking to Becky. Said that they had a lot in common. She kind of got to the top the same way he did, didn't mind breaking up relationships or stepping on throats on his way to glory, just like Becky did, but at the same time criticized her. Then she insulted Edge, and I forgot what she said to him, but made some sort of freaking awesome comment. Becky's great, by the way. That's when the YouTube shit went down. It was right in the middle of that segment. So I was more paying attention to that than I was at the actual segment, but eventually Charlotte's music hit. She came down. The two of them brawled. Edge tried to break it up, and that's kind of all I remember, because that's precisely when the YouTube shit went down. You guys started telling me, hey, I can't see you, can't see you. And then I went down over here, because I always pull myself, or I keep myself pulled up over here just so I can eyeball it, make sure everything's all right. And it went blank, and I'm like, oh fuck. But I kept streamed through the whole show, and went back and looked at my channel, and everything's working just fine. The video was completely intact in one piece, and there were no issues. It was just YouTube died for like 45 minutes. Maybe Smackdown was so bad, YouTube committed suicide. Because you notice, once Smackdown went off the air, YouTube came back up. So it might be WWE's fault. We might have to blame them. We blame them for everything else anyway, don't we? Did we see anything else return-wise? I hit Edge. I talked about Evolution. We talked about the title change. AJ and Daniel Bryan teamed up, and again, a super predictable situation. Right when they were coming out to the ring together, clearly for a tag team match, they went to commercial. During the commercial, I started talking about, okay, here's what's going to happen. They're going to team them both up, because every time you have a babyface program, you team them up in a tag team. Every time. Every time. So they do that. There's going to be a miscue. One of them's going to punch the other every time, by the way. Did I mention every time? And one of them's going to punch the other by accident, knock him out, cost him the finish. And then he's going to try to help him up, and he's going to push him away, you know, and it's exactly how the match went down. It was crazy. So there's only so much you can do with two baby faces who you don't plan, I'm assuming, they don't plan on turning either one of these guys heel. So they're going to have to go through this whole thing until it's crown jewel with them being baby faces. So you can only do so much. You got to team them up. You got to do the respect thing. Then you have to have the 1 week where it does implode and they actually do brawl. But then you have the match, and provided there's no interference, after the finish, you do the handshake. You know, it's going to kind of be like that. Oh yeah, Barry, I'll get to that. Forgot about Taker. It was kind of forgettable, actually. So what they did tonight with Daniel Bryan and AJ, they had a tag team match against the Usos, and they lost because I think it was Bryan hit AJ. He went down, caught a super kick. Bryan caught a super kick, and they pinned somebody. I forgot which one they pinned, but after the finish, Bryan went over to AJ to try to help him up, and he pushed Bryan away, and that's exactly the way I fucking predicted it. But it's yeah, Nick, I don't know if you got my subtle hint there. What I was trying to convey to you guys in the audience is that it happens every time. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it was messed up. So I was like, God damn it. So now I'm trying to think of what they're going to do next week. We can probably just write it all down, and that's exactly what's going to wind up happening. So that was pretty much it for the matches. We talked about The Miz advancing against Rusev. I don't remember if there was another match out there. I don't think it was. I think this was a 3-match show. And time restraints. I mean, they suffered from this tonight. It amazes me, with all WWE's money and as big as they are and how they got everybody in the palm of their hand now, they couldn't negotiate some extra time with the USA Network. They are on a tight schedule for SmackDown. It's not like Raw. Raw can run over. I don't know why Raw can. SmackDown is on the same goddamn network, but they can't run over either. So we're about 5 minutes to the top of the hour, and that's when The Undertaker decides to make his entrance. And we all know it's not like he's the Ultimate Warrior getting down to the ring. He takes his time. So by the time he got his fucking ass in the ring, there's like 30 seconds of TV time left, and he gets on the mic and he goes, I have 3 words for DX, rest in peace, and then the show goes off the air. All that oh, The Undertaker's returning tonight on Smackdown. And he comes out in the main event segment, says 3 words, and the show goes off the air. They couldn't get 10 minutes. They couldn't get a 15-minute overrun. Hell, they couldn't spring for an extra hour. Like, I'm just curious, like, why that wouldn't be possible. Like, with enough notice, like, if WWE went to USA Network 6 months ago and said, look, on October 16th, we want an extra hour for SmackDown. What do you need? $20 here? Like, what do we have to give you? Like, we're telling you we need this hour. Why would USA not give it to them? If it's a special episode, it's 1,000 episodes. Doesn't make sense. To me, it just makes me think that WWE didn't care. And I know that's crazy to hope for an extra hour of wrestling. We don't fucking need that. But for a show like this, we kind of did. And I think it should have been a 3-hour show to where they could have had more room for these legends and these returns, because half of the show was The Undertaker's entrance, Batista, and Edge's promo. That was half the show. So, you know, you didn't have time for a whole lot of other shit. So they could have added 2 or 3 more matches to the card, and they'd done a whole nother hour and not have to rush anything, and definitely wouldn't have had to go off the air. I'm wondering if The Undertaker had they intended for him to speak more, say a few more words, because Kane wasn't with him. It was just him. So I don't know if he came out there and was supposed to say a little bit more than he did, and then it just had to cut it short. On his way to the ring, they're like, hey, just go out there and say rest in peace, and we're going home. So, yeah, not the greatest. You know, they did not make a big deal out of the show. Like I said, I thought Raw 1000 was 10 times better than this, especially with the finish and the stars. I mean, think about that. Let that fucking sink in. The Rock was on Raw 1000, but he wasn't on The Rock show, SmackDown. Oh, man. What a weird fucking business. But yeah, I'd have traded Rock out of there to have him here. I mean, you know, this is where he belongs. We didn't see Teddy Long either, did we? We did see Vicky Guerrero backstage. Or we did see Teddy. I know we saw John Laurinaitis briefly. He had a quick cameo. Hi, guys. Which I'm glad. I have not seen him in years on TV. His stupid face. So yeah, that was about it. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else. I thought it would have been cool. Maybe not for the whole show. I know you can't do it for the whole show, but I thought it would have been cool for them to bring in Taz and have him call a match with Michael Cole. I understand Taz hasn't been there in a long time. Excuse me. A lot has changed, so it's not like he can jump right in and work a SmackDown show, you know, without any, you know, fucking practice or anything. So I think he would have to be brought in just to do a match, and hang out with Michael Cole. I think it would have been fun. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about the McMahons. The show opened up. Jesus, how did I forget this? Speaking of meaningless segments, because during the Evolution segment, we all wondered, okay, Randy Orton's going to RKO a motherfucker, or Batista's going to turn on somebody, or Triple H is going to do something. Nobody ever did. All we did was hear Batista talk for a while. Every guy said some words. Randy Orton was out there dressed in the full-on, you know, dress attire, where Triple H is wearing a leather jacket. Triple H was a member of DX just 2 days ago, or 1 day ago. Yeah, Teddy was there. He was in that backstage segment. So he didn't match. Ric Flair was out there looking like a 70-year-old casino owner, completely out of his mind. And the whole time, like, nothing happened. It was just a love fest. Aside from the tease with Batista and Triple H, where they got in each other's face, it was all hugs. And Randy Orton didn't even do anything. And Triple H, I just don't understand why he was wearing, like, the leather jacket. You know, back in the days of Evolution, he used to come out there in the suits and the hair and the sunglasses and chewing the gum and the belt. I thought that's what he should come out there as. It's a different faction. He should play the part. But he was playing the DX part in Evolution. I'm in some fucking weird parallel universe. Tonight it was very weird. So that I didn't quite understand. And like I said, I mean, Randy Orton has been on TV. He's been this, like, vicious, unpredictable viper, but he's fucking smiling and giggling out there with Evolution. So it was a segment that really, at the end of the day, didn't do anything. It was just an appearance to give the fans a thrill. Everybody hugged and nothing happened. Same thing with the opening segment. Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon are all on Truth TV. Truth is the best. The fact that he was out there and Carmella in that dress, oh dear. I loved that. God, do you have to take a shit right now? What the fuck? But they brought, who came out first? Stephanie did, right? And Stephanie's horrible, and she comes out there and says horrible things, and then Shane comes out there, and I don't even remember what he said, And then Vince comes out there. The whole thing leads to a dance party or a 7-second dance break. Vince is dancing. They're all dancing. It was just weird. And that was it. That was the end of the segment. That was the end of the segment. So nothing really happened. It was 15 minutes into the show, and it was just Vince and the McMahon family dancing. You know, it was like, God, you guys only have a 2-hour show. You don't have time for this, you know? So, I don't know what the fuck. Big Show was random. I didn't even understand that. I don't know where that was coming from, why they did it, and why they made the turn there, unless they just want to turn the bar into a faction now. And Big Show's going to be back, I guess. If he's starting new storyline directions with people, that means he's back on TV. Isn't that great? Love it. Nick of time, too. He can go over to Saudi Arabia himself and get a piece of that payday. Vidu, I'm definitely going Roman to retain. I think Roman's taking the belt into Mania. I think Roman will take it into Mania. AJ will drop it at the Rumble. You know, Ike, I think, you know, when Becky looks back on her career, she'll remember that segment. Like, that was kind of cool. It was good to see Edge kind of just back in that form. He's still a great promo, despite being retired for 7 years now. It was good to see him. He was probably, well, no, I think I was happy with Edge and Batista and Ray. I mean, all the returns tonight, except for The Undertaker, were pretty solid. I thought they were all successful. Edge and Batista did a great job, and Ray won his match. Yeah. God, I don't know. I mean, are they going to put the title on Shawn if he comes back? AJ dropping it to Shawn. See, what I think can happen is you can have HBK and Shawn and AJ not for the title at WrestleMania. I've kind of been of the opinion that Shawn Michaels should work with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 35, potentially in a retirement match, get The Undertaker finally retired. But now the rumors are back swirling again that they can do a Shawn and AJ match at WrestleMania. If you do that, the belt's not even necessary. AJ can go into the Royal Rumble, drop it to the Miz. Miz can then go into his feud with Daniel Bryan, and then between the Rumble and Mania, you set up Shawn and AJ. You know, maybe AJ loses the belt at the Royal Rumble, and then during the rematch, you know, he invokes his rematch clause on Raw or at the next pay-per-view. Shawn interferes for some reason, costs him the match, and you get Shawn and AJ at WrestleMania. Be down with that. Shawn being champ one more time definitely wouldn't surprise me. I don't think it would take a brain surgeon to make that prediction, because when he came back last time, how long did it take? They slapped that belt on him immediately. Came back at SummerSlam, worked that match with Triple H, and then Survivor Series, he won the belt. Just like that. So this could be no different. You might be right, Dark Demonic. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Wouldn't be surprised at all. And I'd be fine with it, man. You know, Shawn was awesome. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with him staying retired. I've said that 100 times. I don't need him to come back. But the fact that he's coming back, I'm not going to pitch a fit. I'm not going to get mad. I don't fucking care, really, at the end of the day. It's just, Shawn had a great career. And I'm perfectly happy with my memories of it. And I don't need any more. But who am I to judge how, you know, Shawn has the right to make whatever decision he wants. If he wants to wrestle, who am I to say he shouldn't? Good question on the Roman Reigns thing. It depends on how long this Shield thing carries on. Could be a match with one of them. Could be a triple threat for the title. Could be against the winner of the Royal Rumble. Maybe Drew McIntyre. If Daniel Bryan wins the Rumble, you know he's going to be challenging The Miz. But if it's anybody else, they're probably going to be coming after Roman. And that's assuming, you know, I'm just assuming that Bryan and Miz are working for the title. That's just what it feels like they're going to do to me, or for me. Roman going into Mania, I think it also depends on what Brock does. Contractually, I don't know when his UFC match is going to take place. If it takes place prior to WrestleMania and he wins the belt, you're going to want the UFC champion challenging for the title in the main event of WrestleMania. I'm sorry. I know people are sick of Brock, but I'm sorry. You can't not do that if Brock is UFC champion. You just have to. So I think Brock right now is in the main event if he wins the title. He's out if he's not. Or his UFC match might not even take place till after WrestleMania. It might not even matter. But if Brock wins the belt and he's contractually allowed to work for WWE at the same time, you betcha they're gonna do a title champion versus champion match, with the WWE guy winning. Wouldn't you do that? You know, I wonder if Dana would have to be in on, like, be okay with it. All right, hey, we're gonna beat your champ on TV. I don't even know how that'll fucking work, but I think that's a likely possibility. Now, if Brock's out of the picture, then I'd go somebody like McIntyre. I don't know what the hell poor Strowman is going to wind up doing. He's going to fall short of Crown Jewel. He ain't winning the belt. He won the Greatest Royal Rumble last year, so maybe he's in there again, you know, because if Strowman doesn't have an opponent at the Royal Rumble, then he's going to be in the Royal Rumble match, and how do you get him out of there? Especially since he won the 50-man one last time. But given the fact that Daniel Bryan went all that time and set a record and all that, fell short, you know, to me, I'm just penciling D. Bryan right now for the Royal Rumble. It would be such a great full circle moment, not only for him, but for the fans. Because you guys all remember what we went through. That was a traumatic time for wrestling fans. You know, 2014 and 2015 with Daniel Bryan. 14, they made it right. But 15, he was fucking tossed out again. So, I don't know. Who do I like more, Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock? I really do like them both. They're awesome icons, but I'm giving the nod to Austin. I just have more memories of his career. I thought overall Austin was more the professional wrestler. He worked in a lot of territories. Well, I mean, then again, Rock was born into the business, but still, like, Austin was a really good wrestler, you know, back in his day prior to the neck injury and all that. And he had so many different, you know, phases of his career and everything, and I loved him on the mic, loved his character. Maybe just a little bit more than The Rock. Maybe I identified a little bit more with Austin, hence the beard and bald head, or goatee and bald head. The Rock, I never found myself wearing a $500 shirt or looking over the top of my sunglasses or raising up people's eyebrow or talking about poontang pie. I think I was more closer to the type of person that Austin is, minus beating up women. And plus, I love beer. Goddamn right. So I'm going to go Austin. I enjoyed Austin more. No, Brie wasn't even out there tonight. I did not see Braun's eye. What happened to Braun's eye? Did he have an injury last night? I'm trying to remember what happened on Raw. I was up here streaming. Yeah, I wasn't aware of a Braun Strowman eye injury. Does it look like Hogan's at WrestleMania 9? See if I can find it. Well, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Yeah, it's about time, you know, it's about time to start thinking about who's going to headline the Hall of Fame too, Jordan. I haven't really thought about it. Now, one thing I'm curious about as it relates to the Hall of Fame is there was that concussion lawsuit with that big list of names on it, like a huge list of names. That whole thing got thrown out a few weeks ago in court, so that's over with. None of these guys can collect and be a part of any big lawsuit. They were essentially conned by the douchebag attorney and lawyer that told all these guys they were going to get a payoff and lied about a lot of shit. So that was all shady. So because of that, I don't know if WWE is going to have some compassion or, you know, and forgiveness in their hearts to some of these guys that maybe were lured, you know, into a situation under false pretenses or whatever. So maybe teams like Demolition can finally get in. Demolition should have been in 2004 when they brought it back. And they're both alive, which is another good thing. Really wish we could have gotten a lot of guys in before they died, you know, like Vader and Savage and lots of guys. But you still have that chance with Demolition. So I'd like to see them go in. They're probably my number one right now. As far as singles guys, man, it's been so many. I'm starting to forget who the fuck's in and who the hell's out. I know we finally got Rick Rude in, correct? Hennig's in and guys like that. So Molly Holly would be a great one. And The Rock. I mean, if The Rock is going to win the Rumble, crazy. I can see. He needs to be going in the Hall of Fame at some point, though. You know what? I would keep Hogan out of Crown Jewel. Just think of Hogan coming down in Saudi Arabia. I am a real man. Just, no. What's going on? What's up, Rarely Even? What's our audience in here? I was not thinking we were going to have anybody hanging out in here tonight since YouTube broke. All right, 160 people, not bad. Just the core group of you. I think during when the stream was a mess, I was asking people, like, how many people are watching? And some people were like 40 and 75. I'm like, God damn. So I stuck it out, though. I watched the whole damn show anyway. But make sure you give that like button. Oh, thank you. Before I even talk about the like stuff, shout out to Catman Golf. Rick Martel. He's actually, I'm going to bump Demolition down one, and I'm going Rick Martel #1 for me. Not as a headliner. I just want to see him fucking go in. But make sure you subscribe, too, if you're just watching now. Normally, I'm up here every Monday, live reacting to Monday Night Raw, and I happened to take tonight off so I could do this for Smackdown. But unfortunately, YouTube, I had all sorts of problems, and things didn't really work out. So I decided to come up here live now and talk about the show and give it a quick review, which I already did. So if you want to hear my thoughts on all of the things that we saw tonight on Smackdown 1000, just rewind a little bit, and you can catch all my thoughts. And so yeah, like, subscribe, click the notifications bell. We had 180 or 200 subs come in last night, I think, on the channel. So I was hoping to get that tonight, but it ain't going to happen. I saw the Connors trending. It was funny too because I got a retweet on a video that I tweeted out like last year that Sarah Gilbert actually retweeted. It was just a video of her, quick clip of her in the early days of Roseanne. But I was curious like what they were gonna do kicking off this new show. I can't believe they even kept the show going. But I guess they killed her off, which they killed off Dan, so nobody fucking dies on this show. So maybe if the Roseanne mess blows over and she ever comes back, you know, she can be brought back to life. But yeah, interesting. You call off work? Does that mean you called in sick? Cody, did you call in sick to watch Smackdown? Boy, you better not work for me. I'm like, Cody, what are you doing? You say you're sick? You're watching Smackdown. I can hear it through the phone. I can hear Michael Cole's stupid voice. You're fired. Absolute Gaming, I will believe that when I see it. Taker and Batista both. See, to me, that's two headliners, and WWE needs to save those headliners because sometimes you have weak years, you know what I mean? Not that Ted DiBiase doesn't deserve to be a head. I mean, I think he's great, but there was years that he was a headliner, and even Nash one year. Well, maybe Nash deserves to be one, but bottom line is I don't think two big headliners should go on at the same time. They did a bunch of them at once in 2004 because of the long drought in the Hall of Fame, and that year the entire class was headliners. It was Bobby Heenan. It was Jesse Ventura. I think it was Harley Race. Superstar Billy Graham. I mean, every one of those guys are headliners. Pete Rose went into the celebrity wing that year. Probably the biggest celebrity they've ever had. Well, that's not true. They got the president in there. Roseanne OD'd? Are you kidding me? Damn. That's dark. I'm trying to think of like other TV deaths like on sitcoms because over the years we've had a few kill-offs. I remember Valerie's family back in the 80s. It was like I forgot her name now. I think it was Valerie something. But she left the show, so they killed her off in like a car accident, and they renamed it like Hogan Family. John Ritter died in the middle of oh my god, that smoking hot chick on Big Bang Theory. She was on that show with John Ritter, and he died, and they had to do an episode about that. That was fucking harsh. But damn, killing her off in a drug overdose. That's crazy. What drug? Oh, they killed off Charlie, too. I never watched 2.5 Men. It was like a huge show. I think I was just against it. My dad really liked it. And to me, if my dad finds something funny, I'm going to find it lame. But a lot of people like 2.5 Men. I just didn't watch it. But yeah, Charlie Sheen, they killed him off. I don't know anything about the Power Rangers. Oh yeah, George's, I'm talking about like sitcoms. Yep, Susan died from licking the stamps, or licking the envelopes, because he's a cheap fuck. But I think John Ritter was one of the, he was like an actual death. Like he actually died, and then they had to write him off or kill him off. Spaz Phoenix, what's going on? How are you? Yeah, so that's interesting. I didn't know about that. Yeah, 2005 was full of headliners too. You're right. That was like Hogan and Piper and shit, right? Jacob. I remember that. And somebody else. 06 had a lot. 06 was Brett and Eddie. That's crazy. Brett and Eddie. What year did Mean Gene go in? But I mean, I just wish like, I wish Bobby Heenan stayed healthy enough to like have a speech at one of those grand Hall of Fames, you know, and he never had the voice issues and stuff. Like imagine he'd have that whole fucking arena chanting his name. I mean, he'd be the true main event. Having to sit through all those inductions just waiting to get to Bobby. Oh my God. If I could reprogram the universe, that's definitely one of the things I would do. John Cena, I say we still have 10 years on Cena. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's only going to put him in his early 50s. I think you wait on Cena. Especially if Cena comes back in and does like a Rock type of schedule. You know, if he comes in for a couple, I mentioned this in a couple of videos ago. You know, if he comes back in and works a WrestleMania, maybe even takes a full year off like The Undertaker sometimes does, and then comes back to work another WrestleMania. That way all the fans can just bitch about him taking up a spot, right? But I don't think he's retiring anytime soon. I think he'll wrestle part-time. I think full-time Cena's done. I think now Cena comes in for stints. He might be full-time Cena for 4 or 5 months, but he'll go away again. So that's the most we're going to get out of him. So all you Cena haters that were so crazy when I started YouTube, I think you guys can all breathe now. You're starting to grow up. You're starting to realize that this guy's not even going to be around much anymore. And now you can transfer all your pent-up rage to Roman Reigns. Yeah, I think Mean Gene was in 06 too, because I remember he was on the stage. Remember during the speeches back then, they would have all the other people, like the presenters and shit, on the stage behind. Because I remember during Brett's speech, Gene was behind him. I don't remember why. If Gene was getting inducted or if he was inducting somebody. But he was probably getting inducted because the year before... No, that was Stallone. Who the fuck inducted Hulk Hogan? Was it Stallone? Should have been Gene. The only celebrity I've ever enjoyed inducting anybody in the Hall of Fame was Wade Boggs inducting Mr. Perfect. I actually know one of Wade Boggs' relatives. He lives in the same town. I see him in the bars near where I work 3-4 times a week. His last name is Boggs. And he gets all the fucking good seats at the Padres and shit, and he knows everybody. It's fucking crazy. I forget how he's related. I don't think it's a brother. I think it's a cousin. It's got the same last name, though. Yeah, Gene was 06. So, yeah, it's been a packed class for 04, 05, and 06. They could have spread a lot of that shit out. I'm trying to think who was 07? Was 07 $1 Million Man? Was 07 Ted DiBiase? I think it was. Trying to think who headlined 08. 08 would have been Ric Flair. 09 would have been Austin. 2010, I don't remember 2010. WrestleMania 26. Fuck, I don't remember. I don't remember 2010. 2011, Shawn. And then it's a blur. Y'all have to fill me in on the rest. Oh yeah, Dusty. I forgot what year Dusty headlined, right? He might have headlined 2010. Not you, dude. Oh, DiBiase was 2010. Who the fuck was 07? Why did I think DiBiase was 07? Well, who headlined 07? WrestleMania 23. Who went into the Hall of Fame, buddy? Do you know? You don't know? Oh, cool. You'll induct me in a YWC Hall of Fame. Oh, could you imagine if we had that? Could you imagine how obnoxious? I mean, if the fans aren't obnoxious enough at WWE Hall of Fames, imagine what they'll be saying at the YWC Hall of Fame. Dusty was 07. Thank you. I got Dusty and $1 Million Man confused. Hey, chill out, dude. Yeah, if The Rock doesn't go in next year, who do I think should? As the headliner next year. I'm trying to think of who's left, like the big stars. Rock and Taker you still got floating around. You do have Batista. There's another option for sure. Aside from them, headline-wise, goddamn. I don't really know what icons you have left that haven't really already gone in. It's going to have to be an Attitude Era person, you know? Who's left from that era? We got Mysterio will be going in soon, a couple years. China won't be a headliner, but China needs to go in for sure. Jericho, another good option. Jericho, yeah, Jericho's one of those only guys left. I don't know if he's gonna go in this year though, because I mean he's holding a belt right now in New Japan, so I don't know if he's going to be going in right now. But when he does, he needs to be the headliner. Absolutely. Honky should go in. I don't like Honky, but yeah. He should definitely go in. Earlier on, I said Rick Martel's top of my list. RVD, great one. Miss Elizabeth hurts to even think about. But yeah, China. Outlaws are not in, I don't think. Outlaws would be a good option. Outlaws and Demolition, for sure. Maybe even the Hart Foundation might be nice. Put Jim Neidhart in for Natty. Might be nice, you know, gesture to her. Bam Bam, Christian, Hardys, yeah. 3-minute warning, probably not. CM Punk, he might be inducted, but they got a lot of work to do before they get there. He's gonna have to come back first. Goldust. No, probably not. I don't think poor Ahmed, is probably not going to go in. I'm not sure if Luger will either. Maybe Luger will. Bischoff, I'd be all for. I'd be all for Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff going in. Kane, DX, all that is perfect. What's going on? You're nervous? The number is starting to change? What number? And thanks for the super chat, dude. I appreciate it. You hit me with a couple of them earlier on. Wow, that actually blows my mind that Pillman is not in. There's a lot of people not fucking in. What is taking them so long with Pillman? Are you kidding me? I didn't even think about that. But you know what? Here's what I'm going to say about Brian Pillman. I'm actually okay with waiting. Here's why. It's been 21 years. Sometimes it's not always about just getting him in who deserves to go in next. Sometimes it's always about timing. Sometimes it's just not the right year to bring somebody in, even though we've been waiting. And Brian Pillman's son is wrestling. I've seen him on MLW. He's young and super green, but pretty good. And he looks good. And he's pulling off his dad's look. He's got the mullet and the cane and the Bengal, you know, wear and kind of the similar outfits, similar T-shirts. He's hanging around. He's got like a Hart Foundation thing formed with Teddy Hart and Smith. And it's great. So he gets some mileage under him. He gets some experience. Maybe he gets signed to NXT one day down the line. Makes it to the main roster, becomes a decent sized star. Then you can have him induct his dad into the Hall of Fame 5 years from now. Or 4 years from now, you know, maybe on the 25th year of his death or something like that. So even though I think Brian Pillman should have been in 18 years ago, I don't think that it's a big deal to wait anymore, especially with Junior in the business now. Let's wait and see what he does. If he turns out to be good, then that might be something fun for WWE to put together, you know, showcase Brian Pillman's career with his son now in the ring. That's what I'd like to see. I think you just do Owen whenever Martha gives the okay. I think if you do Jim Neidhart, though, you're not going to do Owen. You're not going to do both. But I think this would be a good year to put the Hart Foundation in, just for Natalia's sake. You know, she can have you know, it can be her and Brett accepting on the Hart Foundation's behalf, and you probably get Jimmy Hart or I don't know, somebody to do the induction speech for him, or to induct him, and then you have Brett and Natty accept. That's what I do. Yeah, they're going to put Molly Holly in just for nothing else of her just being an awesome, solid person. She might not be a legend per se or whatever, but she was a great hand. Everybody adored her. And I've never seen one person ever that said, you know what, fuck Molly Holly. Nobody's ever said that. She's an absolute angel. So yeah, I'd like to see her go in for show. The Owen question is just a waste. We just don't know, guys. We're just, one day it just might happen. We'll start to hear some rumors or rumblings, or word is leaked out that WWE's talking to her. We're never going to know until that happens. Until then, it's all speculation. The road to hell is paved in speculation. Let's just stick to the facts if we must, because you just never know. The shit's unpredictable. And have you seen the picture of fucking Oj, his son? Goddamn, kid looks exactly like him. It was just eerie. I stared at him. I mean, it's probably the longest time I've ever stared at a shirtless man before. But I was just looking at him, and I'm like, God, he looks a lot like his dad. To a shocking sense. I almost was kind of like, damn, you know. Can't believe like 20 years have gone by since that fucking happened. Unreal. Did I see the pic of Martha showing off she let her husband into a wrestling Hall of Fame? So Owen got into some other Hall of Fame, or maybe a Stampede Hall of Fame or something. Yeah, but she's gonna hold that grudge for life. And I'm curious. I mean, that's the thing. It's gonna be so long. I don't even want to say this because it sounds bad. What happens if she dies? Then who has a say? Then does Owen go in? Does WWE say, well, she's dead now, you know, let's put him in? But if she lives to be 80, then this is going to be fucking 30 years down the line. But no, Scott Steiner has not gone in. I think I'd prefer to see the Steiner brothers tag team go in over Steiner, to be honest. I was never a fan of him as a singles. I thought by the time Scotty went singles, he was well past his prime physically. What the fuck is going on? I'm hearing noises behind me. I remember when he turned heel at the pay-per-view, because that was when I started noticing that before they even did the heel split with Scott, is that during the matches every week on Nitro, you're like, God damn, he's huge. He's twice the size he was in the WWE, and he was a big motherfucker. I mean, he's always just been a jack dude. And he was so good and so agile and quick for a guy his size, but then he just got beefy as hell. And by then, he had stopped doing a lot of his high-flying moves, became more of a power guy, which he was anyway. The cool thing about him back in the day, he was both. You know, he could be quick and fast and wrestle you, you know, in an amateur style. You know, he could do a little bit of flying around, and he was strong as a fucking moose. So by the time he turned heel, I just thought he didn't have a whole lot to offer in the ring. And then it just got worse. You know, then he got even bigger and grosser, and weird things started happening to his body and his muscles. And, you know, by the time he got to WWE in 2003, he was shit. I mean, just look at his matches in WCW were terrible. Just slow and awkward and just don't look good. He was always in a lot of pain. His body was banged up. The match he had with Triple H at the Royal Rumble is one of the worst fucking debacles I've ever seen in my life. So with me, I don't have any positive memories of Scott Steiner as a singles wrestler. Even with the big booty daddy and all his stupid catchphrases, was never a fan. I like the Steiner Brothers tag team. You know, from the late 80s, early 90s. That's what I will always love about Scott and Robbie Steiner. And that's the one positive memory I have of them. Wasn't a fan of either one of them's singles runs. You know, his brother was no better. So, yeah. If you can't tell, I'm not a fan of the Steiner brothers in singles. I like the team. Taz is a guy that might be on left out of the bubble. I'm not saying he doesn't really belong to go in, doesn't deserve to go in, but he didn't do shit in WWE. Nothing. He had one great moment, and that was the day he got there. And from then, it was, you know, down the shitter. In ECW, he was a badass. But again, in ECW, his run was not long. His run was short. His run went from, I don't know, maybe 3 years. Maybe 3 years, 97 to 2000. Hell, even in 97, he wasn't even on top yet. So I'd say 2 years or 1.5 that Taz was really that monster. And then he went to WWE and did nothing. So, you know, he might be a guy that's just forgotten about. But I like Taz. I wouldn't be opposed to him going in. Haku, I'd love to see go in. 1998, hands down, favorite year. What are you doing? Jesus Christ. Yeah, Oj does look a little bit like Matt Riddle. The only pic I saw of him, I didn't even click because I don't even have Instagram. But I want to look up more pictures of him. But the picture I saw was of him. He had his hair slicked back the same way Owen did in like 94, 95. Same length and everything. And it was like a side profile. He had sunglasses on. And he was shirtless. Normally, this would be a pic. I would look at this guy and be like, what a douchebag. But instead, I look and I see fucking Owen. I see his face. It's crazy. And I'm like looking real close. I'm staring at this picture of a shirtless dude. Because I'm like, I am looking at Owen, you know, almost in the mirror here. So I should look more pictures up of him to see how much he actually does look like his dad. But that one picture was like, it took me back. It's like, man, look at this kid growing up to look just like him. So, and the whole Hart family's like that. All those Hart boys start looking like Stu. I'm starting to see Stu in Brett's face. I started seeing it like 7, 8 years ago. When he came back in 2010, I'm like, I see shades of Stu. Smith Hart, when he died, he looked exactly like Stu Hart by the time he passed. They all look like that. They all talk. They all have that voice that, you know what I mean? Keith has it. Brett has it. They all say it. They all have it. 3MB Hall of Fame. All right, let's set that up. Start sending your tweets into WWE. Let's get 3MB in the Hall of Fame. I have seen David Benoit, much like Oj. Looking at his face is freaky. He looks a lot like Chris. He's got that, whatever that is, you know, he's got that look to him, you know. Oj, I saw him through sunglasses, so it was more just like the cheekbone shit that to me reminded me of Owen. But David looks freakishly like his dad. And so does Pillman Jr. He looks like him, you know, especially now that he's dressing like him and he's got the hair. He looks a lot like him. He needs to get in the gym. He needs to do some more lifting because Brian was ripped. But I'm hoping he succeeds. It upset. Yeah, sometimes I just get. I'm glad to see Pillman doing what he's doing with Teddy Hart and with Smith, but Teddy Hart is just one of those guys, man. He has just always come across so abrasive and aggressive and mad. I don't like his attitude. Never met him, so I don't know like what kind of guy he is. He just seems like just a really mean, angry, mean-spirited type of person. Never got he's so crazy talented. The things he can do and the matches he could have. You know, and he never worked out in WWE, attitude problems and drug. He's had personal demons and all of that. That's one thing. But I've just never really enjoyed anything he's really had to say. He always just comes off as not a good person. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's a cool dude. But he just comes off as just not desirable is the only way I can put it. I've seen a couple shoot interviews, you know, and he's talking shit about somebody. He's just always fucking got some drama and some issue. He's cursing left and right, and he's just angry. He's like Jim Cornette when he's talking about fucking Kevin Dunn. You know what, Mikey? I'm going to have to look at the WWE Hall of Fame list to decide who the most undeserving is, because I can't. There's been so many people put in. No, he's not. He's just hanging out. What's up, buddy? He like sits there and he just stares because he's hungry. But you can wait, buddy. I wish Rey Mysterio would land on you and splash you and knock you off the ledge. And then you'd run under the bed and leave me alone for a little while. I don't know, man. Cornette talking about Russo and Kevin Dunn is pretty fucking even. I know Cornette wants to fucking murder Russo, but he wouldn't pass up the chance to shoot Kevin Dunn in the face either. So I think Corny hates them both about equally as much. I'm checking Twitter over here. Okay, so Martha's holding up. She looks pretty good for her age. So she's holding up a picture, a plaque of Owen, Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. I don't know what Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Oh, it's the Luthez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame on July 28th. All right. Well, good. Glad she's letting him be remembered for fucking something. Goddamn. Oh, that's all that happened to Braun? That's nothing. Shit like that happens. I mean, I guess unless he's closing his eye or if it's really closed up, it doesn't even look that swollen. Looks like it hurts a little bit, but I've seen worse than that. Fucking talk to Cesaro. Jesus. Try shoving your entire fucking jaw and dental jawline up your fucking mouth. The way he did that to himself on the Hall of Fame. Or, sorry, the Hall of Fame, on the ring post. I heard about the spitting on the Ed Ferrara thing. I forgot where that happened. Maybe at a convention or something. That's awesome. Oh, that's right. It's your birthday. Oh, yeah. I forgot. You were in here last night telling me that. And it is, you know what? Thank you for the super chat and happy birthday to you. But where I'm at, it ain't your birthday. It's only 9 p.m. here in California. So you're a teenager here. But I'm guessing you're on the East Coast because just past midnight. And you are, you'd say 20? Not 21, right? You said 20. So right on. Happy 20s. Time to get, shit gets real now. No more free rides. Welcome to life. You've literally been thrown into the deep end. So hope you can swim. But you'll be fine. Make sure you stop by, hang out with us every Monday. Keep yourself sane. And maybe one day I'll be able to wish you a happy 40th birthday. Like I had not that long ago. Yeah, Brittany, cats are still fat. That's Bub behind me. He's not too bad. Fucking statue. But the other guy is a fat bastard. And they're so weird. The fatter one, the one behind me who's fine and he's not overweight, he screams and begs for food like a maniac. The fat one doesn't ask for it at all, never meows, never even really runs when I fill the food bowl. Doesn't seem like he cares. But somehow he's humongously overweight. A good 2 pounds heavier than this guy. If I put a treat in front of him, he won't eat it, where he will open the cabinet and steal the bag and eat the whole fucking bag. I can lay the entire bag of treats on the ground in front of him. He won't eat one of them. He'll just bat them around and play with them. But if I leave the dryer open, he walks in there, jumps up on the ledge, gets the lint out of the tray, and eats it. Like, eats it, swallows it, everything. Something ain't right. I think he's Kanye West cat. Because nobody should act like that. Yeah, Jordan, I do remember Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels. It was so funny, too. My friend had me convinced, because I was starting to get like a little marky back then, and during that match at SummerSlam, Rick Martel, who was already one of my favorites, and Shawn, they kind of had a similar gimmick. I mean, Shawn was like kind of a modern day model. He was more flashy and he wore more shit. He had more shit on him, and just a different type of cocky, arrogant, pretty boy kind of thing. And he was being managed by Sherry at that time. And they had this stipulation because Sherry is in love with Shawn Michaels, but Rick Martel ain't a bad-looking guy either. And there was a stipulation in the match where Sherry refused to let either man hit each other in the face. So they had to wrestle the whole match without either guy hitting the other one in the face. And I remember my friend at the time, he's like, "Isn't that weird?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "This is like incest. Like, basically, Sherry is saying that she's in love with Rick. They're brother and sister." And I'm like, "No, they're not." He goes, "Yes, they are. Rick Martel, Sherry Martel, they're brother and sister." And I'm like, "They're not brother and sister." And he's insisting, where he had me fucking convinced for a minute. And finally, I'm like, "Dude, Sherry is a redneck. You know, Rick is from Montreal. They are not fucking related." And we had this whole fucking argument about it. And he's like, "She wants to make out with her brother and all this." It was the funniest conversation. But yeah, when you're 16 years old, watching wrestling with no internet, that's the type of shit you talk about. Back in the 80s, I was convinced that Beefcake and Hogan were brothers because they worked as brothers in previous territories and shit. And that was the big rumor. That one, and then the other big one, non-wrestling related, around that time, maybe not the same time, but was that Bon Jovi had AIDS. Everybody thought Bon Jovi had AIDS. I don't know why. Don't know how shit like this gets started, especially with no internet, but it did, and everybody thought it. What's going on, Gold Standard? How have you been? I'm back. What a weird night. Did you have any YouTube problems tonight? Stream went down, man. Went down right in the middle of Monday Night Raw. Wait, SmackDown 1000. So I decided to come back up here and talk a little bit longer. I'll probably get offline here soon. Who's insulting my cat? Oh, you are, Alex? My cats are idiots? No, that's not an insult. He's right. They are. Total idiots. The shit they do doesn't make any sense. I do not have time to do a Survivor Series memories, Marco. I've got 2 Survivor Series reviews coming, though. And I got a lot of shit coming up. I got 2 Survivor Series reviews. I've got I have 3 PayPal donation videos. One's probably not going to come till after Survivor Series, though. I got something else planned, too. I got a lot of shit going on. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you missed it. Yeah, I'm glad you missed it. For those of you just tuning in, there was a big YouTube issue tonight, right in the middle of SmackDown 1000 during the Becky Lynch, Edge, and Charlotte segment. YouTube stopped working. Just stopped working. So the whole entire site went down. Everybody on Twitter's freaking out. There was a bunch of us live. I was live. Cultaholics was live. Somebody else was live too. And Cronin was live. I think we all lost our streams, lost everything. And so I continued to stream because some people could see me. Even though YouTube was down, I kept it going. And then when SmackDown went off the air, I waited about 45 minutes and just came back up. Figured I'd hang out for a little bit longer since we didn't have time to really talk after the show. So if you want to hear my thoughts on SmackDown 1000 and all of the matches and all the segments and everything we saw, you're just going to have to rewind a little bit. I'll leave this stream up maybe through tomorrow or something, so you have plenty of time to watch it or grab it if you want. But yeah, overall, SmackDown 1000 was definitely phoned in. Ray did get a pin. Yeah, he won the match via pinfall, I believe. I don't know what the funniest thing my cats have done. The best is when they get something stuck on them. My little one ran up. That's probably the funniest one. I call him the little one. He's the youngest because I found him in the bushes when he was as big as my iPhone. And at a Jersey Mike's restaurant when I was getting a sub, so I threw him in the car, fucking adopted him, and now he's grown up to be a fat fuck. But when he was kind of medium-sized, he got like a grocery bag, you know, the plastic bags you carry by the little handles on them. He got his paw in through that hole, and I think it got wrapped around him, and he couldn't get it off. Next thing you know, I'm just sitting back, and he's literally running like Spider-Man on the side, like he's defying gravity. He's jumping from the fucking, he can't get it off, he's freaking out. He jumps from the floor onto the wall, and I swear, he walks on the wall sideways. Like he's got so much speed going that he's staying airborne for all this. He's flying up, he goes through the blinds, you know those plastic blinds that are on the big, like, you know, giant window or sliding glass door. They make a ton of noise, knocks 3 of them off, flies all over the place, lands, he winds up on top of the refrigerator, he can't get the fucking thing off, and then he darts under the bed. And then I start panicking because I'm like, I got to get this bag off of him in case he gets it wrapped around his throat or something. So finally I have to, like, get under there. I grab the bag, which is still attached to him, and I pull the bag that has him on it, pull him all the way out, and I'm like, just sit still. And I unwrap him, he scratches me, I'm bleeding a little bit, and I also noticed that he pissed himself. He was so fucking scared of that bag that he pissed his pants, or pissed the floor. He didn't have any pants. But goddamn, that was the craziest. That was the craziest thing. He was all over the place. I could not believe, I've never seen an animal. I didn't think it seemed like physically possible. Like it defied the laws of physics. Crazy. Yeah, it probably was Corbin that fucked everything up tonight. And I talked about that earlier too, as it relates to Baron Corbin. I think what's going to wind up happening at the Crown Jewel event is he'll probably screw Angle somehow. Because I kind of think The Miz is going to win the World Cup tournament. So I think Corbin will screw Angle, and then they'll set up a Survivor Series match for control of Raw. Right? That's what you do, right? What else do you do? Oh, Brittany, I was talking about the Pistons earlier on. I'm hoping, since the East is a little weaker now, that maybe we can talk playoffs. But every time I think the Pistons are going to have a good year, they suck. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I love the Pistons. I just really want them to pick it back up and start being a contender again, man. We need a star. We need a fucking super crazy star. We need more than Blake Griffin. New one is both. It's a battle royal. It's a fatal 4-way. It's a fatal 8-way battle royal is what it is. Cats are 8-5. 8-5 on the years on the Cats. Actually, he's probably 8.5 now. He's going on 9, which is scary. Yeah, and that's the thing. WWE's got to figure out what they want to do GM-wise on Raw, because you know the Corbin thing can't really last forever. Corbin, I mean, I know he's got a dual role right now. He's constable or he's GM, acting GM, but he's also a wrestler. But this has got to be like, this can't be something he's going to do forever. So eventually he's going to be back on the roster, back to being Baron Corbin. Maybe he'll drop the silly-ass outfit, reinvent himself at some point down the line whenever this shit runs its course. But they can't have Baron Corbin really in mind for the long term. Baron Corbin is not a guy that I can see being the Raw GM the way Bischoff was, where he was there for year after year after year. And I'd be fine with that. You know, I actually wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't really want Stephanie and Triple H, like the Authority. We had to see them for so long. But I really wouldn't mind a stable GM that actually hangs around, that doesn't look like it's just a gear put in the machine. Oh, we're just going to put this new person in this role, and they'll be out in 6 months. We'll put somebody else in. I felt that way with Daniel Bryan. Part of me feels that way with Paige. I don't know how much of a shelf life Paige has. Unless she truly is going to have to be retired, and she can never come back to the ring. I mean, I don't know if she'll re-sign there when her contract is up or what. We don't even know what her future is. Hell, Maverick could come in and do something, you're right. But at some point, they have to start thinking about who's going to take over the reins of Raw in the next few months. It's not going to be Corbin past WrestleMania, right? You know, it's either going to be Kurt Angle regaining control of Raw, which Kurt Angle's not a bad GM, but I don't know if I'm sold on him being a permanent type of figure there. I wouldn't mind seeing Bischoff come back. I don't think he will, but I'd be fine with that too. I grew to kind of like Bischoff, tolerate him. I listen to 83 Weeks sometimes. He's got great stories. Seems like a relatively cool dude. He likes to live. He's kind of like Brock Lesnar, though. He just lives way out in the middle of fucking nowhere. You know, he just likes to fucking ride horses and shit like that, where I'm like the opposite of that. I'm like, get me away from a fucking horse. I ain't trying to be on a horse, and I ain't wearing no cowboy hat either. But Bischoff kind of likes the wide open spaces. He lives in Montana or Wyoming, I forget. But he likes that life. He seems totally happy out there. And he's got time to do podcasts. And he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. No, I do not want to see Dixie Carter. No way. But yeah, I agree, Lorenzo. They're going to need that upgrade. They're going to have some sort of a plan in place for next year to bring in a new GM. They're going to have somebody. So that's some fun speculation. You know, you can think of maybe even Hall of Famer. I mean, I don't know. Batista wants to come in and be a GM or something. I don't know. We'll see. I think it could be anybody, but it's not going to be Corbin forever. And if it's not going to be Kurt, I don't know if it reverts back to Stephanie. I don't know if Mick Foley finds his way back into the fold. I think it just depends on whoever WWE can get. Like, whoever they can call on is what they're going to do. Sting would be interesting. That's actually a role. Well, did Sting do that in TNA? I don't know. Doesn't seem like a role Sting has had before. Although with TNA, I'm surprised that he hasn't done that. Flair, I don't want to see Flair GM. He's too unstable, too unhealthy. Flair makes me incredibly nervous every time he's in the ring. He looks very fragile now. He looks every bit of his age. He looks like just one good, well-placed punch could kill him. So I don't even know if I want to see Flair in there. And definitely not taking bumps or an F5 or anything like that. HBK, it's an option. He's played the role too. Kevin Nash would be a good one. Yeah, it probably would sign Terrace Quad signing the contract. He'd probably fall outside of Titan Towers. I'm just kidding. Poor Nash gets so much flack for his quads, but Kevin Nash is awesome. I love him. I wish I knew Kevin Nash. Like, he seems like I'd be friends with Kevin Nash. Like, we're very similar. We'd probably have awesome conversations. I like Nash. I kind of got a crush on him. Tweet him. Tell him that. I remember one night when I read his mind on Twitter. It was like years ago. And he tweeted something that was kind of like jumbled. It was kind of like a sentence fragment. And I kind of laughed. And I'm looking at the tweet. And I'm like, he's drunk. So I tweeted him. And I was like, haha, I'm drinking red wine too. And he basically tweeted me back that I read his mind. Or that I knew. Like, that's so crazy. Like, how'd you know that? I was like, because I know you like red wine. He's like a wine connoisseur. I kind of am because I'm in the restaurant business. Although I prefer my beer. But I have a lot of wine. So I like that he drinks it. I've seen him in shoot interviews just drinking a glass of red wine. Fucking classic. But I like him. And he's still fucking jacked. How old is this bitch? God damn. He still is just in ridiculous shape. He's still fucking 6'10". He's a beast, man. I thought about interviewing wrestlers. I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't go to a lot of shows and travel a lot, so I can't be, you know, there's some of those guys that are on YouTube that are everywhere. They're interviewing people all the time. So I don't even know where I'd start. There's probably a few guys I could probably contact. I got a DM from Conan during the stream a couple of weeks ago, and we exchanged a couple of messages. But I guess I could maybe call some lower guy. Hey, you want to come on and do an interview or something, you know, or YouTube or a Skype, which I am going to be doing. I'm going to be doing some guests on the channel here shortly, maybe hopefully before the end of the year, but at the very latest right at the beginning of the year. And I'm gonna have some guys on, fellow YouTubers and stuff. We're just gonna chat wrestling, so maybe that can be the beginning of getting a wrestler on or something. I don't know. I don't know the code with that too. I'm always very, you know, because I work with in a neighborhood where I see a lot of like famous people and stuff, and I don't really bother them, and I don't like to. So I don't even know what the protocol is for like emailing a wrestler. Hey, you want to fucking come on and do my show? Are you even going to read this fucking thing, or are you going to put it right in your trash? You know what I mean? Because I remember it was a year ago. I reached out to RVD. Come to find out, I didn't even have the right contact. I went to his website. I took the contact from there, I think. But apparently it was the wrong contact, and I sent an email asking if he would come on so it must have been a year and a half ago. I wanted to have him on April 20th, on 4/20. Or not have him on that day, but maybe tape tape an interview and release it to my channel on that day. But I never heard back. And then come to find out, the email kicked back to me, said never delivered or whatever. So it was wrong. So I'm curious if I actually got through to him, if he would have been willing to do it. Oh man, don't bring back the anonymous GM. Don't bring back that fucking laptop. God. That was awful. My God. Michael Cole, that fucking noise. Those are dark days, man. Conrad, I'll see Conrad in a month. I'm going to Something to Wrestle. I'm actually behind. I have not listened to the last, I think, 3 episodes. So I'm way behind. I want to try to listen to some of that before I go to Survivor Series. Yeah, I'm a bit behind on my Something to Wrestle. How long have we been going here? Oh, good. Nice. All right. I wanted to come up here for like an hour, and it's been like an hour and 20. So yeah, not bad. I don't know if Jim Ross would make a good GM or not. Part of me thinks no. Edge would be a good option as well if he's into it. Adam Lee. God, I forgot about Adam Lee. He's sick, isn't he? I had heard he had dementia, or did he die already? I don't think he died. Whatever's going on with Adam Lee, it's not good. That was so weird. What were they thinking? What year did all that happen, Mike Adamley? I don't even remember. Had to be prior to 2010, right? 08, 09, something like that. I still think Adam Lee was worse than the computer GM. I mean, I always thought the plan was for the computer GM to be somebody, and then it just never was. It was Hornswoggle or something. Like, it's just so stupid, the way they blew the whole thing off after all that time. Feels guy, you didn't miss anything. This is kind of a take 2. YouTube went down tonight during Smackdown 1000, right in the middle of my live stream, so I kind of came up after the fact and hung out here for an hour, but I'm about to leave. This stream is about to end. I just wanted to come up and talk about Smackdown a little bit, discuss what we saw on the show, and hang out and answer some questions and chill out. And then I was going to get out of here, which I'm about ready to do. I think I'm going to call it a night. I got some things to do. I got some dinner to eat, and yeah, that's that. So thank you to the 150 or 30 of you or so that hung out for this second take on the stream. I appreciate it. Sorry things got a little funny tonight with YouTube, but that's their fault. I had my shit together. They didn't. So the schedule you can probably expect would be, I'm guessing Thursday I'm going to come up with a video. I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. I mean, I'll discuss Raw and SmackDown, but there's not much to get into, so it's probably going to be a quickie this week. So tune in sometime Thursday, and you should have a new video up. And then after that, it'll be next Monday for Monday Night Raw. So I'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. See you soon. Peace.